for president in 2020. In a USA Today Suffolk University poll, someone entirely new is the candidate that excites most Democrats. Ouch. 44% of Democrats say Bernie Sanders or Vice President Joe Biden running, 34% like Elizabeth Warren, while 23% back another run by Hillary Clinton. 62% of Democrats say Clinton should not run again. All right, Eddie, what do you think?
I completely agree with that latter.
All of it?
I think we need some younger energy. I understand.
But
that.
what about some of the energy that's in there? We've got Elizabeth Warren. We've got
Right.
Kirsten Gillibrand.
Right.
We've got. I mean, why? Well, no.
I think what we need is a fundamental reckoning in the party, and I think we need to, from my vantage point, I think we need to go left. And Elizabeth Warren and
But not
Bernie
too far
Sanders.
left.
Oh, well, perhaps Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren may be the energy we need.
Let's ask Democratic Congressman Steve Israel of New York, who is retiring after 16 years in the House. You're leaving, but things are just getting started. Don't you feel like the world is spinning out of control?
The world no longer rotates, it just careens. So it sounds like I got out when the getting was good.
Yeah.
I thought I was here to apply for a job as an unpaid intern on Morning Joe. Which
you know what? I'm going to take your resume and we'll put it under consideration.
Thank you.
But probably not. No. So what do you think, though, about someone entirely new? When you look at what has happened and you look at the landscape, is that so far out of context of where we need to be?
Mika, two things. Number one, you know, we are in this debate as Democrats as to whether we need somebody who can appeal to populism, somebody who can appeal to the middle class, somebody who can do a good ground game. Guess what? We need all of those things. They're not mutually exclusive. So we've got a bunch of folks who are running for DNC chair. Tom Perez just announced, Secretary of Labor, big fan of his. I worked with Keith Ellison when I chaired the DCCC. We have got to have a leader who can continue our diversity, expand our diversity, but also tap into those anxieties of middle-class voters. That's where I think we fell short. We can make it up. Second thing is this. We have to stop writing our own obituary. We need to exploit opportunity, and here's what I mean. Do you remember in 2008, we elected a Democratic president. Democrats reached a high watermark in the House of Representatives in our majority, had the Senate. We misread some would argue, a margin as a mandate. We doubled down on stuff. A year later, we start losing Democratic local officials. A year after that, we lose 63 seats in the House. 2 years after that, we lose the Senate, lose control of redistricting. This is going to happen to the Republicans. If they misread a margin for a mandate and start doubling down, repealing the Affordable Care Act, start tinkering with different policies, tinkering with Medicare, we're going to have a good 2018. We have a wind at our back.
I think Kirsten Gillibrand, I mean, especially being tapped into the issues that are afflicting upstate New York, which is reflective of the rest of the country, trying to bring tech in. There's someone right there who's in place who could be a breakout star.
Possibly, but we've got to focus on those local elections before we start figuring out who our nominee for president is going to be. We have to win gubernatorial races.
So everybody's focusing on Hillary Clinton losing. But as you know, the bigger challenge to the Democratic Party is getting those 900 state legislative seats back, getting those 62 House seats that you've lost, which people can blame on gerrymandering, but you can't blame the 900 legislative seats or the 12 Senate seats that have been lost or all the governorships that have been lost. It's got to start at the ground floor. I know you agree with that. How do you do that? What did Democrats do? And more importantly, look at those numbers. How did Democrats lose their way with so many voters?
Well, first thing that happened is we did not sufficiently tap into those unique, unprecedented middle-class anxieties. There is a trauma occurring, an economic trauma with middle-class voters. We need to tap into those voters, and I think we will. Second thing, it goes back to what you said. In 2008, 2010, we made a decision to plus up our numbers in the Congress. So we reached that high watermark in the House and the Senate. Meanwhile, we started losing local elections. We started losing state legislators. We lost 1,000 Democratic elected officials between 2008 and 2010, and they took control of redistricting maps until 2020.
1,000.
It was catastrophic. So we've got to go back to the basics, Joe. And what are the basics? Figure out, how did the governor of Montana, a Democrat, win Montana when Donald Trump was winning Montana?
How did Barack Obama win Indiana in 2008?
Those are the fundamentals. Go back to those fundamentals. The thing that pains me the most are voters who supported Barack Obama 2008, 2012, and voted to Donald Trump. We need to get him back.
Yeah, Congressman Steve Israel, thank you very much. You want a quick question?
Yeah, quick question. So you had the donor class of the Democratic Party with a whole set of issues that was very different from the working folks you were talking about. How do you now resolve that?
Well, look, the Democratic Party was always able to do both. I think it's a false choice. We can continue to talk about bread and butter issues for the middle class. We can unify our party. But as I said before, we have to learn sometimes how to kind of sit back and exploit opportunity. If the Trump administration and a Republican Congress decides that they're going to repeal the Affordable Care Act, that they're going to tinker with Medicare, we will be able to exploit those mistakes, and we're going to have a good 2018. You watch.
All right.
And if I'm lucky enough to be invited back here on this show in 3 months, we're not going to be talking about Democratic divisions. We'll be talking about Republican divisions.
I already told him it's a no-go on the internship. Sorry.
We could get
Steve Israel, thank you very much. No,
I work cheap. I work cheap.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll be right back with much more Morning Joe.